In the vast expanse of the galaxy, life thrived in countless planets and star systems. Among these, Zorveth was a small, insignificant planet with a unique species known as the Lumina. The Lumina were a highly advanced civilization with an almost perfect understanding of their world and the universe around them. One of their most beloved creature was a furry, bipedal animal called a Thraken. Despite being ugly to human eyes, the Threkons were revered by the Lumina for their loyalty, intelligence, and companionship. The Threkons lived in large herds, each led by a wise and ancient Threkon known as Zephyr. Zephyr was not just the leader of his herd, but also an integral part of the Lumina culture. He would perform intricate dances that celebrated the beauty and complexity of life on Zorveth. However, despite their admiration for Zephyr, the Lumina often forgot to care for their own Threkan companions. Years went by and the Threkons began to suffer. Their habitats were destroyed as human activity spread across the planet. Pollution seeped into their water. Food sources became scarce, and diseases spread like wildfire. With no help from the Lumina, the Threkons struggled to survive, and many of them fell ill. One day, a young Threkon named Lumi stumbled upon a hidden cave deep in the forests. In the cave, she found an ancient artifact that seemed to glow with a mysterious light. As she approached it, the artifact began to pulsate rapidly. Just as Lumi was about to reach out and touch it, a loud rumbling sound shook the ground, and the forest trembled. Suddenly, a massive creature emerged from the depths of the earth. It was unlike anything Lumi had ever seen before, a colossal creature with the body of an elephant but the wings of a bird. This creature was none other than Zephyr, having transcended his physical form and taken on a new identity to protect his people. Zephyr looked down at Lumi with eyes filled with wisdom and compassion. "Lumi," he said, "this is your destiny. You have been chosen to help us save our home." The Lumina had never seen Zephyr in this form before, and they were both awestruck and terrified. Zephyr continued, "You must awaken the Threkons and rally them around you. Only together can we overcome this crisis." Lumi nodded determinedly and set out to find her herd. As she traveled through the devastated forests, she gathered more and more Threkons who had also found refuge in the cave or hiding elsewhere. Each of them shared their stories of suffering and hardship, but Lumi listened with a newfound sense of purpose. With the help of Zephyr and the awakened Threkons, they began to rebuild their homes, restore polluted waters, and hunt for food and medicine. The Lumina watched in amazement as their once rejected Threkons played an integral role in saving their planet. They realized that their prejudices had been wrong, and beauty was not always what met the eye. As Lumi and her herd worked tirelessly, Zephyr led a powerful surge of positive energy through the planet. The once desolate landscapes began to transform into lush, thriving habitats again. The Lumina felt a sense of pride and joy as their world returned to its former glory. In the weeks that followed, the Threkons were no longer seen as ugly but as essential allies in the struggle for survival. They were celebrated throughout Zorveth, and their roles in saving their planet became legendary. The story of Lumi and her journey would go on to inspire generations of Lumina and Threkons alike. It taught them that beauty is not just about physical appearance, but also about compassion, unity, and the strength that comes from within. As Zephyr watched over his people with pride, he knew that their world was safe once more. And though the story was far from over, one thing was clear with Lumi at the forefront of it: anything could happen on this incredible galaxy. The news of Lumi and her Threkons' victory traveled swiftly across the galaxy, reaching the ears of countless other civilizations. They marveled at the resilience and unity displayed by a species that had once been dismissed as ugly. As the word spread, Zorveth began to receive aid from various star systems eager to help in their plight. Ships laden with resources, medical supplies, and new technology arrived daily. The Lumina and Threkons worked together, combining their knowledge and abilities to rebuild their homes and restore balance to their world. One day, a massive fleet of ships emerged from the void, more than Zorveth had ever seen before. It was no ordinary fleet. It belonged to a newly discovered civilization known as the Eternals. The Eternals were beings of incredible power, with long lives and a profound understanding of the universe. The captain of the fleet, an ancient being named Talus, addressed Zephyr and Lumi in front of a massive crowd. "We have come to offer you our assistance," Talus said gravely. "Our species has witnessed your bravery and unity. We wish to join forces with you in defending this galaxy from any threats that may arise." The Lumi and the Thrakans were both overjoyed at this unexpected turn of events. They had always believed that they stood alone against adversity, but now they found themselves part of a larger community committed to peace and harmony. The Eternals helped Zorveth in countless ways. They provided advanced technology for rebuilding homes and farms, ensuring the food supply, and teaching the Lumina new methods of agriculture and resource management. Their presence also brought stability and safety to the planet, reducing the likelihood of future disasters. As the years passed, Zorveth flourished under the combined efforts of the Lumina, Thrakans, and Eternals. The unity that had been forged in times of need became a permanent part of their culture. New technologies were developed, societies thrived, and new knowledge was shared across species. One day, as Lumi sat by her herd watching them play, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And though the future was uncertain, one thing was certain: they were not alone in this vast galaxy. The story of Lumi, Zephyr, and their companions had become an inspiration to all who heard it. It served as a reminder that true beauty lies within the hearts of the brave and compassionate, and that unity can conquer even the darkest of times. And as the galaxies continued to spin, one thing remained clear: together, anything was possible. As Zorveth thrived under the guidance of the Lumina, Thrakans, and Eternals, a new threat began to loom on the horizon. The galaxy had always been a place of wonder and adventure, but now it seemed that a powerful enemy was rising from the shadows. A mysterious being known as Malakar emerged, claiming to be the rightful ruler of the galaxy. Malakar was unlike any other being they had encountered. He was malevolent and obsessed with power and control. He saw Zorveth's unity and prosperity as a threat to his own rule, and began plotting to conquer the planet. As news of Malakar's rise reached Zorveth, panic set in. The Lumina, Thrakans, and Eternals knew they could not sit idly by while their home was threatened. They rallied together, determined to defend Zorveth at all costs. Zephyr led the charge, using his vast knowledge of the galaxy's defenses and strategies to strategize their defense. Lumi and her Thrakans worked tirelessly, repairing structures and gathering supplies. The Eternals brought their advanced technology to bear, creating weapons and devices that gave them an edge in battle. The first engagement with Malakar's forces took place on Zorveth's moon of Valax. The fight was fierce, with both sides suffering heavy losses. But the Lumina, Thrakans, and Eternals stood strong, holding off Malakar's forces until reinforcements arrived. As more and more ships arrived from other star systems, Malakar knew he could no longer afford to be on the defensive. He launched a massive assault on Zorveth itself, sending fleets of warships and drones into orbit around the planet. The battle was brutal, with both sides trading blows at an alarming rate. It seemed as though Malakar's forces might have the upper hand when his flagship suddenly exploded in a blinding flash of energy. As the dust settled, it was revealed that the Eternals had found a weakness in Malakar's armor and used it to destroy his ship. With their leader defeated, Malakar's remaining forces began to flee the planet. But it wasn't long before they were cornered on a rocky outcrop on Zorveth's northernmost continent. Zephyr and Lumi led an assault on the stronghold, using every weapon at their disposal to drive back the enemy. They fought with unwavering determination, knowing that failure was not an option. As the final blow fell, Malakar surrendered. He had failed in his attempt to conquer Zorveth, but he refused to give up. Instead, he vowed to continue fighting until he found a way to defeat them all. The Lumina, Thrakans, and Eternals brought Malakar before their people, who sentenced him to eternal imprisonment on Zorveth's deepest oceanic prison. They watched as the massive underwater fortress was completed, its walls impenetrable and guarded by a team of powerful beings from across the galaxy. As the years passed, Malakar's attempts at rebellion only served to strengthen the bond between the Lumina, Threkons, and Eternals. They continued to explore new worlds, share knowledge, and protect their home planet. One day, a young girl named Ilara was born into a family of Lumina scientists. As she grew up, Ilara was fascinated by the stories her father told her about Zephyr, Lumi, and the fight against Malakar. She dreamed of one day joining in their legacy, using her knowledge to protect the galaxy. As Ilara studied, she discovered that there were still threats lurking in the shadows, unseen and unspoken, but she was determined to make a difference. She began to explore the galaxy's darkest corners, seeking out any hints of danger before it could strike. One day, while on a routine mission, Ilara stumbled upon an ancient artifact buried deep within a sunken ship. As she studied it closely, she noticed a hidden compartment containing a piece of writing etched into the stone. The words read, "In times of need, come together. Unite and stand strong, for you are not alone." Ilara knew that these words were meant for her, reminding her that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she was part of a greater story, one that had been ongoing for centuries. She smiled and continued her mission, ready to face whatever dangers might come. As Ilara journeyed through the galaxy, she learned from the experiences of those who came before her, including Lumi, Zephyr, and the others who had fought so hard to save their home. She carried their legacy with her, a constant reminder that true power lies in unity and compassion. And though the future was uncertain, Ilara knew that as long as she stood strong alongside her fellow beings, anything was possible. As Ilara traveled through the galaxy, her mission to protect it from unseen threats continued unabated. She encountered countless civilizations, each with their own stories and histories. Ilara learned about the courage of the humans on Kepler 901, who had discovered a new home world for refugees after their own planet was destroyed. She met the resourceful elves of Lemuria, known for their mastery of nature and survival skills in treacherous environments. Ilara also made friends with the wise tortoises of Adoria, who taught her about patience and resilience. The friendly inhabitants of Zelaria showed her the beauty found in simplicity and community. Each encounter left Ilara with a deeper understanding of the universe and the responsibility she held as its protector. One day, while exploring an uncharted region of space, Ilara's ship received a distress signal from a distant planet called Nephros. The signal was weak, but it indicated that something catastrophic had occurred. Without hesitation, Ilara set course for Nephros, her heart pounding with determination and fear. As she approached Nephros, Ilara observed a scene of utter devastation. Entire cities lay in ruins, and the air was thick with smoke and ash. From the sky, she saw a massive energy field circling the planet's surface, emitting an eerie glow that seemed to suppress life itself. Ilara descended through the atmosphere, her ship flying at full throttle as it approached the battlefield. As she landed on the ground, she found a group of survivors gathered in a makeshift shelter, their faces pale with fear and despair. One of the survivors, a young woman named Kayla, approached Ilara. "We need your help," she said urgently. "There's a force that seems to be feeding off the chaos and destruction on this planet. It's spreading across the galaxy, corrupting everything in its path." Ilara listened intently as Kayla explained the situation. She had never encountered anything like it before, some kind of malevolent energy that seemed to thrive on suffering and decay. Ilara realized that they were dealing with a force far beyond their comprehension. "Where did this come from?" Ilara asked, her voice trembling slightly. Kayla shook her head. "We don't know. It appeared suddenly, without warning." As the survivors shared their stories, Ilara remembered something she had learned long ago, that unity and compassion were not just words, they were actions. She decided to take matters into her own hands and begin a mission to understand this new threat. Ilara gathered the survivors and led them through the ruins of Nephros, using her knowledge of technology and strategy to navigate the dangerous landscape. They encountered numerous obstacles, destroyed buildings, poisonous gas, and even hostile creatures born from the chaos. Despite these challenges, Ilara's leadership kept them united. She inspired the survivors with tales of past heroes and encouraged them to believe that they could overcome this darkness together. As they delved deeper into Nephros, Ilara discovered a hidden chamber deep beneath the surface. There, she found the source of the malevolent energy, a massive crystal that seemed to be pulsating with dark power. Around it was a sphere of force that kept everything contained. Ilara knew that this crystal had to be destroyed, but it was far beyond their current capabilities. She realized that they needed help from outside. With Kayla at her side, Ilara returned to Zorveth and called for a meeting with the leaders of the galaxy. They were gathered in the central plaza of the Lumina capital, where Zephyr and Lumi stood alongside the Eternals. Ilara recounted their journey through Nephros and described the malevolent energy they had encountered. She explained that the crystal at its core was the source of this threat and that it needed to be destroyed. The leaders were skeptical at first, but Ilara's story left a lasting impression. They saw in her determination something familiar, the same spirit that had once united Zorveth against Malachar. Together, they decided to launch a joint mission to Nephros. The Eternals provided advanced technology for the journey, while the Lumina and Thrakons prepared the surviving refugees from Nephros for their return home. As the fleet of ships set off, Ilara felt a deep sense of responsibility. She knew that their success would not only save Nephros, but also reinforce the unity that had brought them together so far. Their journey was fraught with danger as they encountered numerous obstacles and hostile threats from various civilizations who saw this mission as an opportunity to prove their worth. Despite the challenges, the fleet pressed on, driven by a shared purpose. As they neared Nephros, Ilara felt a wave of emotion wash over her. This was not just about saving one planet, it was about proving that even in the darkest times, hope and unity could triumph. Finally, the day arrived when Ilara stepped foot onto the devastated surface of Nephros. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of decay, and the ground trembled beneath her feet. She found Kayla among the survivors, who looked up at her with a mixture of hope and fear. Ilara approached the crystal with unwavering determination. She activated the energy shields that protected it, using advanced weapons to breach the force field surrounding the crystal. As she did so, the crystal glowed brighter than ever before, radiating an immense amount of power. Ilara closed her eyes, focusing all her strength and determination on destroying the crystal. With a burst of energy, she shattered the crystal into pieces, releasing the malevolent energy that had been contained within it. As the energy dissipated, Nephros began to heal itself. The once desolate landscape was slowly replaced with lush vegetation, and the sky cleared. The survivors looked up at Ilara in awe and gratitude. The leaders of the fleet approached Ilara, congratulating her on her bravery and skill. They realized that she had not only saved a planet but also demonstrated the power of unity and compassion in overcoming even the darkest threats. Ilara returned to Zorveth a hero, celebrated for her actions by the Lumina, Thrakons, and Eternals. But she knew that this was just one battle in a long war against darkness and chaos. She smiled, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that with unity and hope, anything was possible. As the galaxy continued to spin through the vast expanse of space, Ilara stood atop a hill on Zorveth, watching the stars twinkle above. She felt a sense of peace deep within her heart, a reminder that even in times of great adversity, there is always hope and the power to make a difference. And so, the story of Ilara continued, inspiring future generations to fight for what was right, and to never give up on their dreams. The galaxy remained a place of wonder and adventure, with each new day bringing new challenges and new heroes ready to step forward. As Ilara returned to Zorveth as a hero, the news of her journey spread like wildfire throughout the galaxy. Celestial events were held in her honor, and she was celebrated by countless species for her bravery and wisdom. The Lumina, Thrakens, and Eternals formed a standing council to oversee Alara's return. They worked together to ensure that the survivors from Nephros were provided with the resources they needed to rebuild their homes and begin anew. Alara spent her time visiting the various star systems, sharing her experiences and inspiring others to unite in the face of adversity. She spoke about the importance of compassion, resilience, and the power of human spirit. Her words resonated with people from all walks of life, as they too had faced their own struggles and overcome them. As the years went by, Alara continued to be a guiding light for those who looked up to her. She became a symbol of hope and unity, reminding everyone that even in times of great darkness, there is always a way forward. One day, while on a routine mission with a group of explorers, Alara stumbled upon an ancient artifact buried deep within a sunken ship. As she studied it closely, she noticed a hidden compartment containing a piece of writing etched into the stone. The words read, "In times of need, come together. Unite and stand strong, for you are not alone." Alara smiled and continued her mission, ready to face whatever dangers might come. She carried their legacy with her, a constant reminder that true power lies in unity and compassion. As Alara journeyed through the galaxy, she learned from the experiences of those who came before her, including Lumi, Zephyr, and the others who had fought so hard to save their home. She carried their legacy with her, a constant reminder that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she was part of a greater story, one that had been ongoing for centuries. And though the future was uncertain, Alara knew that as long as she stood strong alongside her fellow beings, anything was possible. As Alara continued to explore the galaxy and fight against threats large and small, she encountered a new challenge that would test the limits of her leadership and her resolve. One day, while investigating an ancient alien civilization on the planet Elysium Prime, Alara's team stumbled upon a massive crystal at its heart. This crystal was unlike any other they had ever seen. It emitted an energy that seemed to warp reality itself. The crystal was encased in a protective sphere of force, but there was no telling what lay hidden within its depths. The crew of the explorers began to experience strange phenomena around the crystal, time slowing down, dimensions shifting, and objects becoming distorted. Alara knew they had to investigate further. She led her team deep into the caverns beneath Elysium Prime, using advanced technology to study the crystal's properties. As they delved deeper, the reality, warping energy intensified, causing Alara and her crew to feel disoriented and dizzy. But Alara refused to back down. She had always been driven by a sense of curiosity and adventure, and this challenge was no exception. With determination in her heart, she continued to explore the crystal's depths. After hours of searching, they reached a hidden chamber at the crystal's core. There they discovered a portal that seemed to lead to another dimension entirely. Alara stepped through the portal, expecting to find something spectacular or dangerous. What she found was neither. Instead, she emerged in a vast, lush garden filled with strange and exotic flowers and towering plants that glowed with an ethereal light. In the center of the garden stood a massive crystal structure, its surface covered in intricate carvings depicting ancient stories and legends. As Alara approached the crystal, she felt a sense of awe wash over her. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. It seemed to be a window into another universe. Suddenly, a voice echoed from within the crystal. "Welcome, traveler," it said. "You have entered the crystal garden of Elysium." Alara blinked in surprise. "Elysium, what is this place?" The voice replied, "This is a sanctuary for those who seek knowledge and enlightenment. The crystal garden houses the memories and wisdom of countless civilizations from throughout the galaxy." As Alara stepped closer to the crystal, she saw that it was not just a portal but a repository of all knowledge in the universe. It contained recordings of great battles, scientific discoveries, artistic masterpieces, and the thoughts and experiences of individuals from every corner of the galaxy. Alara felt her mind expand as she absorbed the vast amounts of information. She learned about civilizations that had existed long before her time, about the challenges they faced, and the ways in which they overcame them. She saw how different species interacted with one another, learned languages they never imagined could exist, and glimpsed cultures that had vanished from history. As Alara explored the Crystal Garden, she realized that this was more than just a place of knowledge. It was a repository of hope and inspiration. It reminded her that even in times of darkness, there were always new possibilities waiting to be discovered.